rare $1,200 stimulus checks. We are not ready for what is about to come. There's nothing quite as terrifying in the world as uncertainty. The fear of not knowing what's about to come, especially if you know that it's terrible, you won't be prepared. So, the federal stimulus checks may not be back for a long time, or maybe ever, but that hasn't stopped states from creating their own initiative to provide financial assistance to their residents using multiple sources of funds in Honolulu, Hawaii. A rare repay program that has been recently approved will provide taxpayers with some much-needed stimulus checks. The state will be using funds from their $2 billion stimulus budget surplus. It will still need the governor's approval, but lawmakers are optimistic about their chances. Governor David Agee did try to propose a $100 payment to taxpayers and their dependents earlier this year. Those who earn less than $100,000 a year together with their dependents could each receive $300 stimulus check payment. The maximum a household of four could receive up to $1,200. Now, another state that is providing refund is Indiana, which taxpayers in the state awaiting $125 refunds this year. Married couples that file jointly will receive $250. These one-time direct payments are expected to be sent out this month and will continue to be received throughout midsummer. Eligible taxpayers who receive payments via direct deposit should have filed an Indiana resident tax return before January 3, 2022, and if you follow the 2021 Indiana tax return by April 18 of this year, you must have also included a direct deposit checking or savings account for these applications. Now, you may receive a check if you don't meet the requirements for direct deposit. This could be for different reasons, but know that the auditor of state is planning to mail the ATR or automatic taxpayer refund checks in the late summer. Now, California may be looking at the worst summer yet during these months. They should actually have a lot of water, but that's not the case with the state's two largest reservoirs at critical low levels. It's May and there's no sign of rainwater. Officials are already calling it cold, the worst drought in history of the state water project in court. And you have to prepare for a crisis before it even happens, before the very first headline, before people start to panic, but stay ahead of the game. Samantha Power, U.S. ad said this at the start of the month, quote, "Fertilizer shortages are real now," and quote, "Really? You don't think that the world was one of the top countries being the top fertilizer export? We create an issue with fertilizer. You should already know why and what the war that started earlier this year. The forecast should have been clearer. Shortages will follow, and now they're wise to what's happening. They should also know that food prices are on the way up, because without fertilizer, farmers will have less output, meaning that the supply will be lower. This rise of prices, so you have to pay for that. It would help if we had a little extra cash, but some of that has been tied up at the moment. The IRS is apologizing for our delayed tax refund, and as we reported before, they've employed thousands to assist with the tax return backlog of millions, but to date, it seems like about 10 million returns are still awaiting handling. Although there could be some good that comes from this. Did you know that the IRS only has 45 days to process returns and issue refunds? If they don't finish the process within the allotted time, you get interest. And just last month, the interest rate jumped to 4%. For individuals, even banks don't give an interest rate that high. So, if you thought that this was out of the ordinary, it's not. Just last year, the IRS paid out $3.3 billion in interest to taxpayer billion. This year's return may provide even more money, as the average return of $20 to $100 will give you $112 in interest. Now, if we took the 9.6 million people that are waiting and gave them all the average, that's roughly $1 trillion. Things are getting really rough out there now. While most of us are staying at home, it's best to make the most of the situation. Now, a very simple way that you can do is to make some extra cuts, starting with some of the most profitable gigs here, proofreading and editing. Now, to handle the shop, you've got to have high attention to detail, a knack for spotting errors in terms of grammar, punctuation, spelling, and everything in between to ensure that whatever is written is of quality. Now, this particular service is pretty great. Why? Because there's a lot of people who need help with proofreading, textbooks, blogs, articles, and anything that's written that has to be published. Now, on Fiverr, the rate ranges anywhere from 33 cents to $1 per 800 words, which translates to about 33 or $100 per 10,000 words. Now, remember, this is the general average and you can always earn more given that you have a great background. Now, here's another one. If you have a background using Photoshop or editing in particular, this particular next gig on Fiverr is probably going to the best for you designing book covers for people who need it. Extremely profitable with the play ranging around $100 to $250 per accepted book cover. It is certainly something that artists should look into now. With ebooks is even better because there's no need to even print anything. Everything pretty much just stays on your computer or on the device that you will make it on, and with which lies this a very deep understanding of what the book's content is needed. So keep it in line with graphics and design. Logo designs are also very popular on Fiverr. You or someone you know as YouTube channel or those channels they require logos. Or maybe you are starting a print-on-demand business. A logo will help customers remember your brand. That's kind of like putting a name to a face. It's easier to remember logos in that sense. Now, with a little bit of experience, you can get paid up to $75, if not $100 per logo. Are you guys familiar with any of these side hustles? You can try checking Fiverr for better work soon and make a few extra dollars. Inflation is only going to one direction, and that is up soaring food prices at the grocery stores. Their prices jumping 20, 30, 50 cents in a day, oil and gas company hitting record profits. Inflation has never been high since 1982. But every little bit helps for a limited time. Only in One Finance is offering $50 for free when you open up a new brokerage account and in One Finance. Now, one way that I found to offset the cost of inflation is to find the companies that are actually paying dividends. They are literally paying you to own their stocks, and you no longer need a lot of money to invest in. One Finance offers fractional share purchases, meaning you can buy a piece of stock. Just the other day, I placed an order to buy stocks for just $1. So there's no more excuses. The wealthy and big corporations always benefit from inflation, and now we can take advantage of it and get these big powerful companies to pay us. Make sure to get your free $50 when you open a new account and One Finance with a little at $100.